So, hi, hello, hello.
Yep.
Hi.
Another tip.
We're here for another tip. Thomas had a good one.
Yeah, it's like an old thing we used to.
Yeah,
it's the old one we used to talk about. Like that, training horses is a little bit like peeling an onion, right? You have layers of issues, especially when you're dealing with training horses, correction horses, rehab horses. You know, there's all these layers of maybe bad habits and mentally psychological issues, physical issues, and so on. So when you see certain issues on the surface, and then maybe you work on them, and then you've removed one, and then there is another one underneath. It's like you peel one layer of the onion, there is another one underneath it. And then you cry because you thought you would have. No, just kidding. And sometimes it's like the issues that come up, they have been there for a long time.
But they're buried under layers, so you can't see necessarily everything because it's obscured by these layers. So you have to work through the layers, sort of like layers of dirt or something. You have to work through each layer to get to the core issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's sort of a fascinating aspect that things become more complex sometimes as you work through the different layers of stiffness, old habits, maybe trauma that the horse has been through.
Or not necessarily more complex, but it sometimes comes out that it's not what you initially thought it was. Exactly. It comes down to something else, and maybe a root cause that's actually causing several things, and you didn't know they were completely related. You don't know that until you get down the layers and you see, this all stems from the same common thing. But you don't know that until you work through all of these layers.
Exactly. You can't access the deepest layer sometimes until you've removed the more superficial layers.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating thing. So basically you have to expect that as you're working through one issue, that another one will come up underneath that. And often, sometimes then people who are not very experienced, they think that this new issue is new, and because they've never seen it in that form, and they think, well, whatever you're doing or whatever they're doing is causing it. But often it's been there for a long time.
It's actually that you just finally got to it. You got to where you can touch it finally. And so it's actually a good thing, even though it can present as something that doesn't feel good or look good. It's just that you're finally getting to see the truth of the matter. You're getting the real information. And the great thing about that is once you have the real, raw, valid information, you can actually do something about it, especially if you know what to do. But you need to know the true information, not the kind of decorated information that's decorated by layers of symptoms.
The issues often can't really be removed until they're on the surface, until you can see them, you can feel them, then you can deal with them. As long as they're hidden underneath something else, you can't access it, you can't reach it. And
for example, a really hyper flexible horse will still be stiff. You just can't feel it because they're so hyper flexible. You actually have to align them in such a way really diligently so that you can actually start to feel their stiffness so that you can address it. So initially, when you feel that stiffness, you might think that things are getting worse. You know, that, oh my God, I've made the horse worse through this training. It was better when the horse was hyper flexible, you know, and just loosey-goosey in the neck and nothing really went through. It was better that way because everything felt light and good. The thing is, it wasn't true. It wasn't valid. And when you've aligned the horse, you're finally there where you can actually feel the true stiffness that's always been there. The horse was just hiding it from you through his hyper flexibility. That's an example. And it's a common example.
Yep, that happens.
But there are other examples too. Yeah.
So essentially, look out and be prepared for new issues to come up that are not necessarily your fault. It's not necessarily that you caused the new issue that's coming up, but it could be something that had been there for 5 years or 10 years. It's a little bit like archaeology. Digging in the dirt, right? And then
it's been there all along. You're just finally bringing it to the surface, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You have to start to change your mindset,
Yeah.
or reframe how you see these things.
Mhm.
That, oh my gosh, this thing has been there, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Now I can see it, and now I can address it.
Yeah, exactly. You almost have to be grateful when it comes up, because then you can remove it rather than thinking, oh, damn, I was hoping I was done now.
I know, because I've
Things
been
look
there.
good now.
I've been there. I've
Of
totally
course we
been
all
there. Yeah.
have been there. I know.
But once you can bring it to the surface and you see it and it's very apparent, you can finally address it. You have a chance now.
Yeah.
And it actually then helps the training improve. It's not just about, oh, I brought the stiffness to the surface so I can make the horse light again. Yay. No, it's that when you actually can address that stiffness, you finally open up the next opportunities in the training, the next level.
Exactly.
Everything improves as a result. So it's a good thing, believe it or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is our tip for the day. I would love to hear if you have found this, if you have discovered the onion, and if you have yet learned to embrace the onion and see it that way, see it that everything is built in these layers. And as trainers, as riders, we get to uncover all of these. It's like an unboxing. It's unboxing the horse. Yay! I would love to hear from you, so you could comment below. I would love to see your comments and hear your experiences.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you next
Bye.
time. Bye.